Okay, so to work on this particular frequency table, we're going to be using the example that we have on page 105. Okay, you can find it on your books on page 105. And we're going to use the information that we already have there. Now, I want to use this example because we'll have this explanation and we'll also have the explanation on your book. Okay, here we have the graphs, the way that we can prove it. And we're not going to focus on the mean, median, and mode just yet. Right now, we're only going to focus on the frequency table. Okay, we're going to discuss what each column entails and how do we actually get there. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is to work on the range. Okay, now from the previous lesson where we were just discussing the definitions that we're going to need for these frequency tables, okay, we know that the range is when we subtract the highest value minus the lowest. Okay, so if you notice on your books on page 105, from all of that information, okay, they're giving us the final scores in mathematics of 80 students. Okay, so the total number of data that we have is 80 numbers. Okay, these are the grades of 80 students of a math test. Okay, here you can see it. It's on page 105. So this is the information, scrambled. Okay, and here we have it organized. We're going to talk about organizing data in a moment. Okay, right now we're just going to use the information that we have so that we know how to do it. So if you notice on your books on the example, it says the final scores, okay, on your books on page 105, the final scores in mathematics of 80 students are shown below. It starts with the 68, ends with the 77. Okay, but in the second part here, they are organized from the smallest to the highest. Okay, so that way we can find easily the range. We take the highest number, 97. We take the lowest number, 53. Okay, and that's going to give us our range. Okay, so we put that here. So it would be 97 minus 53. And that's going to give us 44. Okay, that's the range of the information that we have on this exercise. Okay, now they already give us how many classes do we have to divide it in. Okay, if you notice, it says organize data in ascending order, divided into 10 classes. Okay, so we know that we're going to have 10 groups. Okay, so if you notice, we already have it here. Okay, if we count from 50 to 54, okay, so each of these groups is called a class. Okay, that's the interval. Okay, now the next number that we're going to need is the width. Okay, the width, okay, from the previous lesson, we know that we can calculate dividing, okay, the range divided by the number of class. Okay, so we know that the range is 44, and we know that the number of class is 10. That's going to be 4.4. Okay, and that is the width of each, okay, of each interval. Okay, now since the lowest number, okay, of information that we have is 53, because we already know it from the data pool. Okay, this is like a data pool. This is where we get all of our information. Okay, so if we know that the width is 4.4, we can round this number so that we can have a better understanding, because since they are grades and they are whole numbers, they are not decimals. Okay, it's better if we round this number from 4.4 to 5. Okay, because it's going to be easier to group. Okay, so when we get our information and we know that the width is 5, okay, what is the lowest number? Okay, the lowest number is 53. So let me put it here, just so that we know. Okay, so since we're going to do them by 5 numbers each, okay, and we need to start at a lower number from 53. Okay, so if we have 53, what is the lowest common multiple of 53. Okay, it comes back using fives. It comes back to 50. Okay, so we choose the lowest multiple of 5 coming back from 53, and that's going to be 50 because the next one is 55. Okay, but we need to go a little bit lower so that we can cover any number that comes from lower than 53. Okay, because this 53 might be rounded up. Maybe that student got 52.5. Okay, so we need to cover those numbers a little bit left to the 53. Okay, so we choose a multiple of 5 because 5 is the width. And what is the previous multiple of 5 before 53? We have that it's 50. Okay, so in 50 is where we're going to start our intervals. Okay, so we have 52, 54. Now, just by looking at it, we know that that number is correct because we count like this: 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. Okay, so that's how we calculate the width. Okay, because just by looking at it, we would say, oh, but the difference between 50 and 54 is 4. But no, if we count it in data, we know that it's 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. Okay. The next group is going to start at 55 and is going to go up to, so if you notice, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. Okay? And the same thing for the other ones. Okay? 64, 65 to 69, 70 to 74, 75 to 79, 80 to 84, 85 to 89, 90 to 94, and 95 to 100. Okay, so that's where we get our intervals. Okay, let's review. How do we get these numbers? Okay, we first need to have the range. Okay, then when we have the range, we convert into the width. Okay, the width is the range between the number of classes. The number of classes is usually either given or we can choose it. Okay, but in this case, they gave it to us. Okay, if you notice, divided into 10 classes. So we already have that information. Okay, so we calculate the range divided by the number of class, which is 44 divided by 10. We have 4.4, but we need to use our whole number. Okay, because we don't have decimals in the information. Okay, so let's round up to 5 so that we can use round numbers. Okay, and the reason that we start with 50 is because if the lowest number is 53, we need to start to the closest multiple of 5, okay, left to the lowest number. Okay, let's say that this number, instead of 53, let's say it was 47. Okay, so from 47, which one is the closest multiple of 5 to the left? It's going to be 45. So we would start at 45. Okay, the same thing would happen if the lowest number, let's say, was 49. If it was 49, we would start at 45. Okay, so we go to the left to the closest multiple using the width. Okay, so here we have our data pool information. Okay, these are our intervals. Okay, if you remember from the information that we copied in the previous lesson, okay, we know that class intervals are this. Okay, these are endpoints. Okay, endpoints meaning that starts from here and ends here. Okay, now we're just going to copy the next group of information because we are only talking about the frequency, and for time purposes, okay, we're not going to count each number. Okay, so let's copy the information that we already have. Okay, let's use the blue one. Okay, so they give us that from 50 to 54, we have one person who had a grade between those. Okay, we have 2, we have 11, we have 10, okay, we have 12, 21, okay, then we have 6, then we have 9, and then we have 4 and 4. Okay, this is just information that we can find in our our data pool. Okay, remember, this is information that we got from here. How many numbers do we have from 50 to 54? We only have one person who got 53. Okay, then we start counting from 55 to 59, and we count how many. We have 2. From 60 to 64, we have 11 students who got those grades. From 65 to 69, we have 10 students. 70 to 74, we have 12. 75 to 79, we have 21. Okay, 80 to 84, 6 students. 85 to 89, 9 students. 90 to 94, 4 students. And 95 to 100, or 99, is going to be 4 students. Okay, so this is just information that we have from our data pool. Okay, from the information. Okay, now let's calculate the next column. Okay, the next column is represented as FA, which is the adding of the frequencies. Okay, so if you notice, okay, I put it on this side. Okay, on your books it's on the last column. Okay, but I wanted to put it here so that it's easier for you to see where did I get these numbers. Okay, so we get these numbers. Okay, the FA, we get it when we add. Okay, when we add the frequencies. Okay, so for example, if we have that between 50 and 54, we have 1. Okay, so we copy it. Okay, now we have to include the next interval. So from 50 to 54 and from 55 to 59, so that would make it from 50 to 59, we have 1 and 2. Okay, so that means that here we have 3. Where do we get it? When we add F and F. Okay? Now, between the ranges 60 to 64, we have how many? We have the 1, the 2, and the 11. So we would add 1 plus 3 plus 11. Okay? So that means that we have, oh sorry, not the 3. We would add the 3 plus the 11. 3, we already have it here. So 3 plus 11, we're going to have it as 14. Okay? Now, where do we get the next one? We would take 14 that we have between 50 to 64, and then we would add it with the 65 to 69, which is 10. So then we have 24. Okay? Then 24, and then we have the 12. We're going to have 36. Okay, because all of this needs to add to the amount, the total amount of data. Okay, 36 plus 21, we have 57. Okay, 57 plus 6, we have 63. 63 plus 9, we have 72. 72 plus 4, we have 76. And 76 plus 4, we have 80. Okay, so if you notice, we already knew that the total amount of data is 80. Okay, and here we're just adding them according to frequency. Okay, so for example, where do we get these numbers? Let's review. We get it by adding these two, come here. Okay, and then this one plus this one comes here. This one plus this one comes here. This one plus this one comes here. This one plus this one. This one plus this one. This one plus this one here. This one plus this one is here. And this one plus this one is here. Okay? So this is just the added frequency. How many do we have between this range and this range? 1. But then this range and this range, we have this one plus this one. 3. Okay? The next one. Here we have from 60 to 64, we have 11. But how many do we have from 50 to 64? We have 14. Okay? 1, the 2, and the 11. And the same thing with the rest. How many do we have from 65 to 69? 10. But how many from 50 to 69? 24. Okay? Perfect. Now, XM, which would be the median. Okay? From the definition that we already copied, we have that it's the class mark. Okay, so the class mark, how do we find it? Okay, the class mark, let me put it in another color. The class mark is calculated how? Okay, from the formula that we already copied, okay, we know that it's 54. Oh, sorry, let me put it in equation terms first. We would put the highest term of each interval plus the lowest interval divided by 2. So highest interval plus lowest interval divided by 2. Okay, so 54 plus 50. Okay, let's do it on our calculators just so that we know. Okay, so we have 54 plus 50, 104 divided by 2. So the class mark is 52. Okay, the same thing with the next ones. Okay, we will need to add. We add the highest plus the lowest divided by 2. Okay, so we would do, let's do it one by one. 59 plus 55 divided by 2, 57. Okay, so we do it in our calculators so that we don't make any mistakes. Okay? Okay, the next one would be 60 or 64 plus 60 divided by 2 is going to be 62. Okay? 69 plus 65 divided by 2 is going to be 67. Okay? 74 plus 70 divided by 2, 72. 79 plus 75 divided by 2, 77. 84 plus 80 divided by 2, 82. 89 plus 85 divided by 2, 87. Okay? 94 plus 90 divided by 2, 92. And, well, in this case, we would use 100. So 100 divided by, plus 95 divided by 2, going to be 97. Okay? So where do we get these numbers? These are the class mark. We add the endpoint, the highest endpoint, plus the lowest endpoint, and we divide it by 2. Okay? Now, when we have fxm, okay, we're talking about the frequency, okay, of each value. Okay? So, where do we get, okay, the frequency, okay, of this? Okay? We would need to multiply, okay? This, let me put it somewhere else. Let's put it here. Erase this. We already know the class mark. Okay, so when we copied, okay, when we copied the definitions, okay, on this table, it's pretty easy. Okay, we just need to multiply, okay, the class mark by the frequency. Okay, so it's pretty basic mathematics. So if we have fxm, that means that we multiply the frequency times the class mark. Okay? That's why we need this information. Okay? That's why we add these two and we divide it by 2, because we need this column so that we can find the class mark frequency. Okay? So how do we get these numbers? It's pretty simple. Okay? We multiply frequency by class mark. Okay? So this would have, okay, 1 times 52 is going to give us 52. 2 times 57, okay, this 2 times this one, okay, 2 times 57, 114. Okay, 114. Then 11 times 62 is going to give us 682. The next group, 10 times 67, 670. Okay, 12 times 72, 864. We can do this on our calculators. Okay, I'm just copying right now. Okay, 21 times 77, 21 times 77, 1,617. 6 times 82, 6 times 82, 492. Okay, 9 times 87 gives us 783. Okay, 4 times 92 gives us 368. And 4 times 97, 388. Okay? Now, how do we get to this number? Okay? We're multiplying the frequency times the class mark. Okay? So, when we do this, what do we need this number? The addition of all of these numbers is going to give us 6,030. Why do we need this information? Okay, because 6,030 is the amount of points between all of the tests. Okay, we have 80 tests. Okay, so how much points do we have added between all of the tests? Are 6,030 points. Okay, between the 52s, the 114s, all of these. It's the addition of the result of each point of each exam. Okay? Now, when we're talking about the last column, okay, we're going to work it as percentage. Okay? Now, how do we get to this number? Okay, we're looking for a number, okay, that's going to give us a percentage. Okay, now, why do we need a percentage? We need the percentage so that we can know that each number, each data information, each data row is going to give us a percentage, because how many people, this is when we ask the question, what percentage had between 50 and 54? Okay, how much of a percentage of the whole student gave us, okay, or had a grade from 50 to 54? Okay, so this is a percentage, okay, so that we can know what is the percentage of each group. Okay, now how do we get to these numbers? We will need our calculators again, okay, and we're going to do a little rule of 3. Okay, how do we get these numbers? Okay, so we're going to divide, okay, the number. Okay, remember, what is the total amount of frequency? Okay, the total amount of students was what? 80, right? Okay, so we're going to divide each frequency by 80, and we're going to multiply it by 100 so that we can have a percentage. Okay, so let's do the formula. For the percentage, we're going to divide the frequency by the total amount of data, total, and then we're going to multiply it by 100. That's going to give us the percentage of each data interval. Okay, so how many students do we have that got a exam grade from 50 to 54? We have 1. Okay, so if we take our calculator, okay, we would need to divide 1 divided by 80, okay, times 100. Okay, and that's going to give us 1.25. Okay, that's the amount, that's the percentage of students from 100 total that got from 50 to 54. Okay, so we do the same with the other numbers. Okay, 2 divided by 80 times 100. So we have 2 divided by 80 times 100. That gives us 2.5. Okay, we're going to do this one by one and quickly so that we don't spend that much time on it. 11 divided by 80 times 100. That's 13.75. 10 divided by 80 times 100. That's 12.5. Then we have 12 divided by 80 times 100. That's 15. Then we have 21 divided by 80 times 100. 21 divided by 80 times 100. That's 26.25. Sorry. 26.25. Okay. Then we have 6. Okay, we're doing them one by one. Times 100 divided by 80 times 100. That's 7.5. Now we have 9. 9 divided by 80 times 100. 11.25. 4 divided by 80 times 100. That's 5. And the same. 4 divided by 80 times 100. That's going to give us 5. Okay? And the addition of all of this is going to give us 100. Let's try it. 1.25 plus 2.5 plus 13.75 plus 12.5 plus 15 plus 26.25 plus 7.5 plus 11.25 plus 5 plus 5 equals 100. Okay, this is the amount, the total amount of percentage of students. Okay, so let's review all of this table. Where do we get these numbers? Quickly. Okay, how do we get the intervals? Okay, we said that first we need the range. Okay, the highest value of all of the information minus the lowest. Okay, we have 44. Then we need to get the width. Okay, the width is the number of classes that we're going to divide it by. Okay, they already gave us this information. They requested 10 classes. Okay, that's why we have 10 intervals. Okay, so the range divided by the number of classes, and it's 4.4, but we need a round number, so we round up to 5. Okay, that's how we get these numbers. Okay, so once we have the ranges, we start with the frequency. The frequency, we got it from the data pool. Okay, we go to page 105, and then we count all of this information. Okay, so from 50 to 54, we have one frequency, one student. 55 to 59, 2. 60 to 64, 11, and so on. Okay, these are just the amount of numbers that are between these ranges. Okay, then the accumulated frequency. Accumulated frequency is when we add the frequencies with the intervals. Okay, from 50 to 54, we have 1. But from 50 to 59, we have 3. Okay, so that means that from 50 to 59, we're going to have 3, the 1 and the 2. Okay, and then we just start adding 3 plus 11, which would be from 50 to 64, 14, and so on until we get to 80, because this is the total amount of students. Okay, then we get the class mark. The class mark, we find it adding the highest value plus the lowest value divided by 2. Okay, we got this from the formula. Okay, now the frequency times the class mark. Okay, this is the amount of points. If we add every exam, okay, this is the total that we get. Okay, between the 80 students, they added 6,030 points. Okay, so that's how we know the total amount of points that were accumulated between the exams. Okay, so we multiply 2 times 57 under 14, 11 times 62, 10 times, and we do it as a normal formula because we have frequency times the class mark. And then when we're talking about the percentage, okay, we get it from the formula. The frequency divided by the total amount of data times 100. Okay, that's going to give us the percentage of each interval, and added is going to give us 100%. Okay, so Under this link, you're going to find an exercise you need to complete and resolve, okay, and hand in on a white sheet of paper or on your notebook on the day that we return to class. Okay, there will be more lessons. I will be adding more. Okay, but this one is for today.